I like I like the introduction. You don't need to be as inspirational as these people. Justin Krebs, come on up. It's good. I'm here to talk about the power of local organizing, and I love the phrase we heard before, when they go low, we go local. And I'm going to talk about it wearing a couple different hats. But first of all, the hat of a neighbor. I live down on Fifth Avenue. I biked here tonight. They're going to need a bike valet, the same way they have at Prospect Park in the summer, because all around here, every street sign was full up with bicycles. How many of you biked here tonight? I'm curious. See, there you go. You all took my spot. So, hello, neighbors. First, I'm going to talk in my hat at Move On. How many of you are Move On members or get our emails? Awesome. You know what's cool about that? We only email and social media with each other. How many times are you actually in a room with 400 other Move On members? Introduce yourself to each other. It's awesome. So since the election, we have seen a surge of energy, and our job is to channel that energy in the most effective ways possible. Weeks after the election, we were having our first day of national actions at outside Senate offices around the country. You know what it was? Don't take away our health care. You know what we did on Friday? We didn't get our health care taken away. And that was because in cold December, people were showing up all around the country. And people were showing up outside of Toomey's office, as you were talking about. They're showing up in Texas, outside of Cruz. Cornyn's office actually called the police to have the organizers removed, or not the organizers, sorry, the voters, because they were like blocking up the parking lot outside of Cornyn's office. But this wasn't just happening outside of Republican areas. There's no doubt that the pressure that was put upon Democrats, including marches to Senator Schumer's office, a few blocks away, helped stiffen the spines of the Democrats who were uniform in support of health care and who are now showing more and more spine against some of the cabinet members that we heard about, against the Supreme Court nominee we're seeing. So it's important that this local action, while it might look very different in a conservative area or a swing area or a proud liberal area, it's still important. That local organizing, the recess town halls that we were flooded all across the country by Move On members and others, where we would show up and even the members of Congress would sneak out the back doors, or they wouldn't show up, and we'd still have the town halls without them. That was happening on a local basis in a way that can't just happen over email. It can't just happen over social media. It happens because people are actually gathering together. So that's the serious side of local organizing. Here's the other power of going local. It actually builds that sense of community and camaraderie, and dare I say it, even a little bit of fun that we need to keep this movement going. Attorney General Schneiderman talked about this being a movement, and he's right. But a movement cannot only be fueled by outrage. How many of you have risked a little bit of protest fatigue? You can be honest, you're with friends, remember, they're neighbors, a little bit, right? But one of the things that I believe, and I think probably our friends from around the country know, is that when you look and see your neighbors and friends next to you outside of Toomey's office at the 7th-day protests against deportations, you know that you're not alone. But you also know that we are reaching for something greater. Now, this is the other part of my work that Brad mentioned. 14 years ago, during another pretty dark era in American politics, 2003, right after the Iraq War started, right after the Patriot Act had been passed, a few friends of mine in Manhattan at the time said, we need to do something to get our friends together, to get more political. And we didn't want to go to more meetings and Robert's Rules of Order and have attendance sheets. So we said, let's organize in the most natural habitat for a bunch of 25-year-olds to organize. And we met in the back room of a bar. Well, Drinking Liberally has been meeting every Thursday for 14 years since in Hell's Kitchen. It meets first and third Tuesdays of the month over at Pacific Standard, and now there are 200 chapters around the country. Not just in blue areas, but it is a lifeline in these conservative areas, where people actually find other liberals, find out that they're not alone, where they feel the courage to come out of the closet as a liberal. So, Drinking Liberally has grown to laughing liberally comedy shows, screening liberally films, this sense that, yes, the stakes are high, yes, the situation is dire, but at the same time, we need to enjoy each other. We need to find laughter. We need to find merriment. We need to find the things that lift up our soul. The arts and activism, which is one of the groups that's here. We need to find the things that make us know that we're not alone, but also that inspire us to keep going. So whether you are doing move-on actions where the local force is felt because you're outside of every member of Congress's office, or you are drinking liberally and laughing liberally, or whatever other social group you're finding, even in this room, finding out that your neighbors, someone I did a co-op shift with, I never met her before, she's here too. Like, we're neighbors, we're friends now. That kind of camaraderie is going to keep us going. So with that, there could be no better way to organize than organize locally, and it's happening all around the country. Now, I'm just going to end you with this thought, because I think I'm our final speaker before we actually get the trainings, which you all came for, which are going to be so exciting. But my final thought is that my 4.5-year-old asked me where I was going tonight. I said I was going to speak about how to make the world a better place. What should I say? Her first advice was, tell people to recycle, not to throw out. I'm like, you're well trained. You could have said compost. Second, she said, maybe you could make up some chants. So I hadn't thought of it until a moment ago, but don't get moralized. Don't get demoralized. Let's get. Don't get demoralized. Let's get. Organized from a true Park Slope 4.5-year-old. Thank you, Brad, for organizing. Thank you, all of you, for getting organized, Brooklyn.